Arsenal 3, Coventry City 0. Full post-match pundit analysis. The defending champions have sent a warning. Oh, what a way to start the season as defending champions. Arsenal fans, forget the fact that this was only the first Premier League game of the season, because what we just watched at the Emirates could be a warning to the entire Premier League. Arsenal 3, Coventry City 0. But the scoreline actually doesn't tell the whole story. This wasn't simply Arsenal beating a newly promoted side. This was Arsenal showing something that we haven't always associated with them in previous seasons. Fast combinations, aggressive pressing, movement across the front line, a captain dictating the game, a new winger announcing himself, and perhaps most importantly, a squad so deep that Arteta could take off Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, and Martin Odegaard while protecting a 3-0 lead. And here's the scary part. Arsenal weren't even at full speed for the final 20 minutes. So the question isn't whether Arsenal deserved to win. They absolutely did. The real question is, have Arsenal just shown us the blueprint for how they are planning to defend their Premier League crown? In case you missed the match, let's get into the detailed analysis of how it all went down. For me, this was Arsenal saying, we are not defending the title, we are coming for another one. Arsenal opened their Premier League title defense with a commanding 3-0 victory, scoring through Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka, and Martin Odegaard. And importantly, the performance wasn't built around one player, it was collective. How the match unfolded. From the opening minutes, Arsenal looked aggressive. Christos Zolis was immediately involved and gave Coventry problems down the left. And this is where I want to start, because Zolis wasn't simply standing on the touchline waiting for the ball. He was moving, he was pressing, he was combining with Ricardo Calafiori, and eventually, that combination helped produce Arsenal's opener. 15 minutes, Havertz strikes. Zolis and Calafiori combined to dispossess Milan van Evik. Calafiori then played the ball into the path of Kai Havertz, who finished to make it 1-0. And that goal tells you something about Arsenal's attacking structure. It wasn't just give Saka the ball and hope. Arsenal attacked from the left. They created the turnover. They moved the ball quickly, and Havertz attacked the space. That's exactly the kind of multi-dimensional attacking football Arsenal needs if they want to go further than last season. Then came the second. 23 minutes. Saka makes it 2. Declan Rice combined with Odegaard before the move eventually developed through Zolis. The ball reached Bukayo Saka, and the England winger finished to make it 2-0. 2 goals, 2 different attacking patterns, and Coventry were already in serious trouble. At halftime, Arsenal were 2-0 ahead. But I actually think the second half tells us more about this Arsenal team. 49 minutes. Odegaard puts the game to bed. 4 minutes after the restart, Martin Odegaard got his goal. Ben White helped create the opportunity, and Odegaard's finish eventually trickled over the line. 3-0. Game essentially finished. And look at Odegaard's reaction. This wasn't just another goal. This was the captain getting himself onto the score sheets on opening day. After a difficult previous campaign by his own standards, seeing Odegaard influence this match from midfield is one of the biggest positives Arsenal fans can take from tonight. The tactical breakdown. Now here is where it gets interesting. Arsenal's biggest tactical success wasn't simply possession. It was where they created their advantages. The left side became a major attacking platform. Zolis gave Arsenal width and intensity. Calafiori supported from behind. Lewis Kelly could move into midfield areas. And that created different passing angles for Arsenal. On the opposite side, you had the familiar relationship between Ben White, Martin Odegaard, and Bukayo Saka. That right-sided triangle was once again extremely important. And suddenly, Coventry had a problem. If they moved across to stop Saka and Odegaard, Arsenal could attack the opposite side. If they stayed compact, Arsenal could circulate the ball and wait for the opening. That is the difference between simply having possession and actually using possession to manipulate the opposition. The numbers support the dominance. Arsenal had roughly 64.5% possession, compared with Coventry's 35.5%, and produced around 20 shots to Coventry's 4. Arsenal also had 8 corners to Coventry's 2. So this wasn't a lucky 3-0. The underlying performance was dominant. But here is the one thing I would question. I don't want to overreact because it is Coventry City. They've just returned to the Premier League after 25 years away, and Arsenal are the reigning champions. So let's not suddenly say Arsenal are unbeatable. They aren't. There were moments when Coventry did manage to test Arsenal physically. Ellis Sims won a physical duel with Gabriel Magalhaes, while Loum Chauna nearly caught David Raya with a speculative effort. Those moments matter because better Premier League sides will punish small defensive lapses more ruthlessly. But Arsenal dealt with those moments, and that's the important distinction. Now let's talk about the player Arsenal fans are going to be talking about all night. Christos Zolis. For me, this was one of the most exciting aspects of the performance. The Greek winger was energetic from the beginning. He was involved in the build-up to the opening goal and played a major role in Arsenal's second. But it's not just the attacking numbers. It is movement and intensity. Zolis gave Arsenal another attacking outlet, and that matters enormously because Arsenal have sometimes been accused of becoming too predictable when opponents concentrate bodies around Saka. Tonight, Coventry had another problem. They had to worry about Zolis, and if Zolis can consistently perform at this level, Arsenal suddenly have another player capable of stretching defensive structures. The Guardian described him as a lively presence from the start, while fan reaction also strongly highlighted his performance. My verdict, 8.5 from a possible 10. Very impressive Premier League debut. Odegaard, the captain, is back. Martin Odegaard deserves special attention. He scored, he created, he combined with Rice, he controlled the tempo, and he looked much more influential than we've seen during some difficult stretches previously. The captain's goal also gives him confidence immediately. For Arsenal to reach another level this season, Odegaard's form is massive because when Odegaard is controlling games, Saka gets better, Havertz gets better, the midfield gets better. Arsenal's entire right side becomes more dangerous. My rating, 9 out of 10. For me, he was Arsenal's man of the match. Kai Havertz, the striker debate continues. Kai Havertz also deserves credit. He scored Arsenal's opener and gave Coventry centre-backs a constant physical and positional problem. But here's the bigger debate. Arsenal have Victor Gyökeres on the bench, and tonight Havertz started, scored and stayed on the pitch for the full match. That doesn't automatically tell us anything about future selection decisions, but it does create a fascinating competition. Havertz has started the season with a goal, and when a striker gives Arteta that kind of output, he makes the manager's decisions more difficult. Rating, 8 out of 10. The defense, quietly excellent. Now let's give the defenders their flowers. Clean sheets, Coventry managed only 4 shots. Arsenal controlled territory, and David Raya only had limited work to do. Christian Mosquera also had a composed outing, while Ben White looked particularly comfortable on the right. Gabriel wasn't perfect. Coventry did test him physically at times, but overall, Arsenal's defensive structure remained extremely difficult to break. And remember, William Saliba wasn't available. Bruno Guimaraes was also unavailable after picking up an injury in the Community Shield. Yet, Arsenal still looked extremely secure. That's squad depth. Player ratings. These ratings are based on a possible maximum score of 10. David Raya, 7 out of 10. Didn't have a huge amount to do, but remained reliable. Ben White, 8 out of 10. Excellent involvement on the right and helps create Odegaard's goal. Christian Mosquera, 8 out of 10. Composed and physically competitive. Gabriel Magalhaes, 7 out of 10. Solid overall, although Coventry did occasionally test him physically. Ricardo Calafiori, 8 out of 10. Important involvement in the opening goal and excellent attacking contribution. Declan Rice, 8 out of 10. Controlled midfield and helped create the second goal. Miles Lewis-Kelly, 8 out of 10. Confident in midfield and showed why his development is becoming so intriguing. Martin Odegaard, 9 out of 10. Goal, creativity and control. My man of the match. Bukayo Saka, 8.5. Goal and constant threats before being withdrawn. Christos Zolis, 8.5. One of the biggest positives of the night. Kai Havertz, 8 out of 10. Scored the opener and led the line effectively. Substitutes. Martin Zubimendi, 7.5. Entered when Arsenal needed control and helped manage the game. Noni Madueke, 6.5. Had time to make an impact but couldn't reproduce the influence of Saka. Eberichi Eze, 6.5. Useful cameo but didn't have enough time to truly change the game. Mikel Merino, 7 out of 10. Helped Arsenal close the game down. Piero Hincapié, 6.5. Late defensive introduction as Arteta managed the squad. What Arteta got right? For me, 3 things. Number 1, the attacking balance. Zolis gave Arsenal a different threat from the left, while Saka remained dangerous on the right. That's exactly the balance Arsenal need. Number 2, managing Rice and Saka. Both players had only recently returned to training. Arteta removed them with Arsenal comfortably ahead. That is smart season management. Number 3, using the squad. With 15 minutes remaining, Arsenal could bring on players of the quality of Merino and Zubimendi. That is a completely different Arsenal squad from previous years. The Guardian specifically highlighted Arteta's ability to replace Odegaard and Rice with World Cup winners while Arsenal were cruising. What Arteta needs to fix. Now, I'm not going to invent problems just to make this video controversial, but there are 3 areas I would monitor. First, Arsenal need to make sure they don't switch off when games are already won. Coventry did have moments, particularly through physical play and late opportunities. Second, Arsenal must maintain this attacking variety against teams that defend much deeper and better than Coventry. Third, the Bruno Guimaraes injury situation is something Arsenal will have to monitor because midfield depth is excellent, but Arsenal have major ambitions across multiple competitions. Those are not criticisms of tonight's results, they are simply the next questions. Arteta versus Lampard, the managerial battle. There was also an interesting subplot here. Mikel Arteta and Frank Lampard have now faced each other 7 times as managers. Before tonight, Arteta had won 4, drawn 1 and lost 1 of their previous 6 meetings. Arteta's teams have scored 16 goals to Lampard's 8. The most recent meeting before tonight was Arsenal's 3-1 win over Chelsea in May 2023. Tonight simply strengthened Arteta's advantage, and tactically, you could see the difference in experience. Lampard's Coventry side competed, but Arsenal were simply more mature in possession, more dangerous in the final third, and more ruthless when opportunities appeared. For Coventry, this is not the match that should define their season. Talking point of the night. Here's mine. Has Arsenal finally solved their too predictable problem? Because tonight, we saw goals coming from different areas. Havertz from the left-sided combination, Saka to the central/right attacking structure, Odegaard to the right-sided combination, and Tollis was heavily involved in the first 2 goals. That is encouraging, very encouraging. The numbers that matter. Let's simplify the statistics. 64.5% possession, around 20 shots, 6 on target, 8 corners, 3 goals, clean sheets, and Coventry managed just 4 shots, with only 1 on target according to the match data. That tells you the story. Arsenal didn't simply score 3, they controlled the match. 5 things we learned tonight. Number 1. Christos Zolis looks like he can give Arsenal a completely different dimension. Number 2. Martin Odegaard looks ready to make himself central to Arsenal's title defense. Number 3. Arsenal's squad depth is now frightening. Number 4. Kai Havertz has immediately strengthened his case to remain central to Arteta's plans. Number 5. Arsenal have started the season with confidence, attacking freedom, and a clean sheet. But there is one final point. What does this mean for the title? Let's be sensible. It is one game. Arsenal have not won the Premier League tonight, but they have done something important. They have sent a message. Last season, Arsenal finally climbed the mountain. They know what winning the Premier League feels like now, and that experience changes expectations. The Guardian noted that Arsenal have now gone 46 home matches without losing to a promoted side, while the champions began their title defense with another emphatic victory. And after the 3-0 Community Shield victory over Manchester City last weekend, Arsenal have now started this campaign with 2 consecutive 3-0 victories against Manchester City and Coventry. That's a very strong opening statement. Final verdict. So, Arsenal fans, my final rating tonight is Arsenal 9 out of 10. Not because they were perfect, they weren't, but because they were controlled, aggressive, technically superior, and ruthless when the opportunities came. The biggest positive for me isn't even the 3 goals, it's the variety. It's Zolis, it's Odegaard, it's Saka, it's Havertz, it's Lewis Kelly, it's Rice, it's Zubimendi coming off the bench, it's Merino coming off the bench. It's the feeling that Arsenal now have solutions, and if this is only the beginning, the rest of the Premier League should be paying attention. But now, I want to hear from you Gunners. Who was your man of the match? Martin Odegaard, Christos Zolis, Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz, or somebody else? And more importantly, do you believe this Arsenal team is stronger than the one that won the Premier League last season? Drop your answer in the comments because I want to see where the Arsenal fan base stands after this one. And if you're an Arsenal fan and you want real tactical analysis, player ratings, transfer implications, and post-match punditry, not just somebody reading the scoreline, make sure you subscribe to the channel and share this video amongst other Gunners you know, especially Gunners groups. Turn on notifications because Arsenal season has only just started. The champions have made their opening statement. Now we find out just how far this team can go. The title defense has officially begun.